So the question is, do you want to know how to take care of weed maintenance in your garden? Hey everybody, Yannick here from Just One More Story Farm, and today is Weeding Wednesday. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing to maintain the plants in my garden and keep them as weed free as possible. No matter what you use to control your weeds, you're still going to have weeds popping up here and there throughout the growing season, because weeds are tenacious and they will just keep on coming back. However, doing things to keep them at bay will certainly help, and staying on top of them by picking one day a week to continuously weed your garden will definitely help. So for me, I pick Wednesday. It's easier for me to remember Weeding Wednesday. And so when Wednesday comes up, I get myself out into the garden. I highly recommend that you do your weeding first thing in the morning while it's still cool, rather than in the heat of the day. Later in the evening is an option as well, but the mosquitoes tend to be worse at that time in my area. When I'm weeding, I like to make sure that I wear my garden gloves. I have extra straw available to add to areas, and staying hydrated is really important. So make sure you have your water with you so that you can keep hydrated. Let's go weed the garden. Straw does a really good job of keeping weeds at bay in the garden, but where the straw gets a little bit thin, you will see some weeds start to pop up. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out the weeds. I just break them up and I return them back to the garden. And then I grab some straw and I cover up that area so that it has a thicker layer of straw to help prevent those weeds from coming back. The reason that I don't completely remove the weed from the garden and compost it in this instance is because pulling the weeds and tearing them up and returning them to the garden, I'm returning that nutrients to the garden. The reason you don't want weeds in your garden is because they will compete with your plants for nutrients. But by removing those weeds and tearing them up and putting them back into the ground, you are adding those nutrients back into your garden. If you continuously take those weeds away, you're just continuing to take those nutrients away. So I like to put them back during maintenance weeding and just cover them up with some straw so that when the straw is getting broken down, those weeds get broken down with it and it's all returned to our garden soil. The straw in this raised bed really helps to keep the weeds at bay, and it's nice for these cantaloupe vines that will be growing cantaloupe to have a barrier between where the cantaloupe are going to sit on the ground. And that's it. It just takes a few minutes to pull out those weeds and add a little bit of straw on top just to make it a thicker layer, and that will make it easier come next Wednesday when it's time to check for weeds again. So by taking 5 to 10 minutes each week to just go through and pull out any new weeds that have come up, it will really save you a lot of time in the long run. And by adding those weeds back into the soil, your garden will thank you for returning those nutrients. If you like this video, we have other gardening videos like what not to put in your garden. And we also have a garden tour video. You should check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want to farm a wicked awesome farm? Watch this channel to learn what to do. We love to farm and we'll show you. Yeah, welcome to our show. Just one more story farm.